American Graduate, Louisiana Opportunities, a New Orleans public media education reporting partnership made possible by Baptist Community Ministries.
Katrina delivered a knockout punch to public education.
How could we possibly come back from something so devastating?
But a decade of deliberate change has shown success.
You see in classrooms today more of what was in good classrooms before the storm.
With many more choices for students.
Why not offer different forms of high school to appeal to young men and women to make sure that they stay in school to graduate?
And setting kids up from the beginning to complete their education.
We want to make sure that our children are ready not only for kindergarten, but for the rest of their lives.
Learn the latest on our state's goals for learning to lead all our kids to solid futures. This is American Graduate, Louisiana Opportunities.
Hello, I'm Marcia Kavanaugh.
And I'm Tom Gregory. We're at Chalmette Elementary School, just one example of what's new and improved in education in the 10 years since Hurricane Katrina.
And the changes go way beyond brick and mortar. Louisiana's high school graduation rate increased for a fourth straight year to a record high, 74.6%.
A record number of graduates are moving on to college. At the same time, the state is placing equal emphasis on preparing students for high-wage work.
The post-Katrina push to put young people on a pathway to prosperity now has another priority: our littlest learners, because only 54% of Louisiana students enter kindergarten ready to succeed.
And then do pink, green, pink, pink.
Rochelle Wilcox has spent 16 years as an early childhood educator. Her Wilcox Academy of Early Learning teaches kids what they need to carry them through life.
And that is making sure that we have a happy balance of academic rigor and social emotional skill building. Being compassionate, being a good listener, being a great citizen starts at birth. It doesn't start when they're 4. It doesn't start when they go to kindergarten. It starts now.
That's why the Louisiana Department of Education took over licensing of early child care centers in 2014. And it's creating community networks to coordinate enrollment and make sure every publicly funded classroom teaching kids 0 to 4 gets the proper evaluation.
We cannot accept that the public is paying for, the parents are enrolling their kids in places where kids are leaving not even able to recognize 26 letters before they come into kindergarten, and that's the situation today. That's because we have a fragmented system that's run based on adult rules rather than what's really good for the children.
A report card is being designed so each child care center will score a letter grade.
So we are moving towards class assessment, and that's capital C, capital L, ASS, class assessments, which focuses on teacher-child interactions. So it focuses on what's going on. Are they digging deeper? Are they really engaging with children? Are they pleasant? Do they listen to what the children are saying?
Good job. Hey.
While the state better prepares kids entering kindergarten, there's another plan to help all students.
Our goal is to have all schools in the state of Louisiana evaluate the whole child and not just the academic child.
Connie Bellone led the Childhood and Family Learning Foundation's pilot of school site health and behavioral screenings for 23,000 students. They found that kids with emotional challenges often get labeled special ed.
And so if we can intervene early in the early childhood years, maybe we can prevent some of those outcomes and prevent these kids from dropping out and prevent them from being labeled as emotionally disturbed because they've lived in 4 houses and they don't have any consistency, or because they can't see the board, or because they can't hear and interact with their environment.
Candace Madise is Director of Special Education for the Choice Foundation Charters.
Especially in the school arena, I think sometimes we focus too much on what's going on in reading or what's going on in math. Let's really dig a little bit deeper and figure out what's going on and help each and every child be successful.
In spring 2015, A state Senate resolution paved the way towards making the Childhood and Family Learning Foundation's New Orleans efforts a statewide initiative.
The Katrina anniversary has education leaders around the nation measuring the extreme makeover of Orleans Parish public schools.
At the time the levies failed, student test scores made Orleans the second worst ranked school district in the state. Now it's outperforming 25 other parishes, and research shows the reinvention brought results in student achievement. The school year had barely begun when Katrina hit. With buildings battered and teachers and students trapped out of town, no one knew when schools would reopen.
We want to go home.
The Orleans Parish School Board lost a handful of failing schools to state takeover before the storm. Afterwards, the legislature handed the Recovery School District most of the rest. Only 17 public schools out of 126 remained under control of the scandal-ridden Orleans Parish School Board.
If you recall, they couldn't get the paychecks out. They couldn't process principals' requests, so schools open without desks and books. I mean, it was just dysfunctional. Freed from that dysfunctionality, taking great educators who were trapped in that system before Katrina and putting them in a charter school environment where they had that autonomy to make those decisions, our schools are doing significantly better.
Leslie Jacobs served on the Louisiana Board of Elementary and Secondary Education when the levees broke. She founded Educate Now to continue her efforts to build successful schools in post-Katrina New Orleans.
So if this is a marathon, we're maybe at the half-mile marker after 10 years.
I would never want anyone to think we didn't have really good quality leaders and teachers in classrooms in New Orleans before the storm. The problem has been that there weren't enough.
With a combination of pre-Katrina educators and fresh forces, and more than 90% of kids attending charter schools, New Orleans schools got better.
I've seen our public school system go from one of the worst in the nation to actually have improved, so much so that we see graduation rates have improved from about 54% of students to almost 74% graduation rate.
The percentage of students proficient on state tests rose from 35% in 2005 to 62% in 2014. The gap between New Orleans and the state average is closing from 23 points pre-Katrina to 6 points. The graduation rate for African American males rose to 65%, higher than the state and national average. 62% of kids attended failing schools pre-Katrina. Today, only 6% do.
A lot of the reforms that have been done to people and not with the residents.
Andre Perry is a former New Orleans Charter Network CEO. A month before the Katrina anniversary, he moderated a forum called Parent Perspectives.
After the storm, we certainly needed outside expertise and knowledge. But eventually, you need to transition to building capacity for local talent. And right now, we're not doing that at a level that I think is needed. We are just not producing enough teachers for the future. And that was a problem before Katrina, it's a problem now. And so, yes, we're improving in some areas, particularly in the areas of academic achievement. But there's some areas where we can improve upon, because the goal is just not to increase test scores. That's just one small means to an end. The goal is to improve a community.
Parents on Perry's panel appreciated some progress.
Pre-Katrina, there were no options. Your child had to go to a district school, whatever school was in your district. So yeah, it might be close to home, but you might end up with a failing school as well. So now, to me, it seems like it's opened up a lot more opportunity to get your child into a better school, no matter where it is in the city.
But there was frustration over difficulty getting kids into the best schools. Only 8 of the 82 are graded letter A. Just 25% have an A or B score.
They all need to be A schools. We shouldn't have to drive across town and fight to try to get our children into Lusher and Audubon and Baby Ben. They should all be Lusher and Audubon and Baby Ben. And that's the problem that we need to fix.
Among the many. But Education Research Alliance Director and Tulane economic professor Doug Harris showed New Orleans education reforms produced the most academic growth in any district in the country over such a short period.
And if you look at our ACT scores that just came out, I mean, we're a 1/10 of a point behind Jefferson Parish. I mean, we used to be many points behind Jefferson Parish. So we're moving along, and I am optimistic we'll continue to get better. We need to translate the academic gains into economic opportunity for our young people and break the cycle of poverty.
State Education Superintendent John White came to New Orleans in 2011 to lead the RSD.
And while there is so far to go in Orleans Parish, there's no question that the changes that have been put in place since the floods have been, all things considered, positive. Record numbers of kids graduating high school, record numbers of kids getting tops, record numbers of kids getting advanced placement outcomes, going to college. I think we will look back and say that in the years post-Katrina, our generation worked to ensure the prosperity of its people, to cut down on unemployment, to make life better and provide a pathway to the middle class for more kids than ever before.
We showed you highlights from NOLA Parent Perspectives, conversations about education 10 years post-Katrina. You can watch our webcasts of the entire forum at WYES.org. One of the strongest symbols of resiliency, recovery, and strength in public education after Hurricane Katrina is the St. Bernard Parish Public School System.
The parish was devastated by the storm, so were the schools. But the system superintendent, Doris Voitier, demonstrated determination to get her students back to their schools, which won national recognition for her. But that's not why she worked so hard. She wanted her community back, and she believed that rebuilding the school system was the first step to rebuilding the parish.
This community in particular was totally destroyed. There was not a home, a church, a school, a building, a business that was not affected. So much devastation, and then at first just that sweeping depression of what are we going to do? How could we possibly come back from something so devastating? And we knew that the school system was what would bring the people back.
Doris Voitier has been with St. Bernard Public Schools for more than 40 years, superintendent since 2004. It was her dogged determination that got the system up and running just weeks after Katrina. She opened the St. Bernard Unified School.
We decided we would do it ourselves. So within 11 weeks after Katrina, we located our own classroom trailers. We put together a makeshift school in the parking lot at Chalmette High School. We had generators as power. We cooked our own food and brought it in. So it was under very adverse conditions, but we took all children from the age of 3 all the way through high school. We started that first day with 334 children on that November 14th of 2005. Within 30 days, right before Christmas, we had doubled that number to 660. And then after Christmas, over 1,200 students came back to us. And by the end of May, we had 2,360 children. And we knew that we could survive, and we knew that we could rebuild.
In May of 2006, a graduation ceremony brought the dispersed community together. Seniors wore the colors of what pre-storm were 3 high schools that have since been consolidated into one, Chalmette High.
If you take a look at Chalmette High School now, we have about 1,750 students. We have state-of-the-art facilities, a brand new 9th grade academy, an Olympic-sized swimming pool, a cultural arts building which houses a state-of-the-art theater. We have 6 brand new elementary schools, and on the drawing board right now is a 7th. Those 6 elementaries feed into 3 middle schools that have all been refurbished.
New buildings are but a part of offering students a solid education. Good teachers are essential. Louisiana Superintendent of Education John White singles out St. Bernard's teacher training model.
I think actually the most avant-garde teacher preparation program is in St. Bernard Parish, where literally for a full year, new teachers are being mentored and as an apprentice under a full master teacher, a mentor instructor, who then graduates that person essentially as a teacher before they're ever full-time in the classroom. They've got a proud tradition of teacher education. They've brought it into their schools. They're doing amazing work.
We developed our own program for teaching people how to teach, getting them ready to go into a classroom. So we're providing a great deal of support within the first year and the second year to make them effective teachers, because that's what we're here for, is teaching and learning.
7,500 students now attend St. Bernard Parish Public Schools, down from 8,800 before Katrina. The system rates a high B grade on the state assessment scale.
St. Bernard, we're going to continue to excel. We have built state-of-the-art facilities, and our emphasis can now be solely on improving student achievement and making sure that the graduates that we produce are contributing members of our community as well as the rest of the country.
Business and community groups have also stepped up to strengthen education opportunities for kids.
Lacoste Bulldogs in the house. You ready to go?
Brothers Chris and Bill Haines, both board members of the Meraux Foundation, welcome students from the Metro region to the Foundation's Dockville Farm for the LSU agricultural-sponsored event, Ag Magic.
Our goal is to have youth from the metro area come for school visits so that they can learn about agriculture. And so this event lets them see hands-on. They touch, they see, they smell, and they learn.
Yeah, that's the spot.
This was the second year for Ag Magic at Dockville. In the past, students from the New Orleans region had to travel to Baton Rouge for the experience.
But we can show all the different kinds of agriculture. We have the sugar cane, we have a demonstration crawfish pond, we have baby goats and sheep and horses. We just think Dockville's the perfect outreach tool for that.
The first year we did it, some of the takeaways for the kids were, wait till I tell my mom these vegetables came from the dirt. And we were like, wow, this is important outreach, and it's good that we're doing this. And it also highlights different workforce development opportunities for the kids to go into.
Is that her milk? No, that's her stomach.
It supports classroom learning and sort of ties everything together. Children remember when they see, they hear, and they do.
Organizers hope to make Dockville the site for Ag Magic for many years to come. St. Bernard Parish is one of the school districts that helped pioneer Jumpstart.
That's the new program that offers high school students the opportunity to graduate with credentials that make them certified for careers in high-growth, well-paying jobs.
Southeast Louisiana is undergoing a real economic boom. We're looking at nearly 100,000 jobs coming online over the next decade. Nearly 50% of those jobs are going to be middle-skill jobs, so jobs that require more than a high school degree and training, but less than a 4-year degree. And we have young people who need to connect into these opportunities.
And those opportunities are the driving force behind Jumpstart. A few are doing it this year, but in the 2017-18 school year, every school district in Louisiana must transition to a Jumpstart Career Diploma. That requires every student not immediately going to a 4-year university to leave high school with a career credential awarded in a high-wage, high-growth job field.
And that means in the junior and senior year of many kids' experiences in Louisiana and our high schools, now that young man or woman will be taking apprenticeships and internships. They'll be going to community colleges to study rigorous career pathways. They'll be pursuing career credentials in their high school or through private training providers. What we need to insist on is that everybody's education continues after high school. But that doesn't mean it just has to continue in our 4 universities. It can continue in our 2-year colleges. It can continue in our technical training programs. It can even continue in the workplace, and people can come back to education having a couple of years of income under their belt.
White says a year ago, only 2,000 students in a high school system of 200,000 were on a career track. In fall of 2015, that's increased to tens of thousands. Community partners like Greater New Orleans, Inc. say interest will grow through career awareness and exploration. Their pilot program, Future Building Fridays, took high school counselors to industry sites to see the opportunities firsthand.
We can have the most remarkable jumpstart pathways if school leaders, teachers, CTE teachers, students, and parents don't understand what these jobs look like, what they feel like, how much money you can make, and the steps you need to take. We are not going to be having students and talented students opting in and choosing these pathways.
That's the mission of our high schools. Have our kids have a pathway to prosperity when they graduate. We haven't been doing it enough, and we're making the transition now.
Earn and learn. That's what Hal Turner did. Now he's got a career chance. He's a new employee at Textron Systems. On this day, he's helping build an armored patrol vehicle for the Canadian Army. He gained the skills and confidence to win the job as an apprentice at Tulane University in the Earn and Learn initiative of the Cowen Institute.
That's perfect, Rick. Everybody needs help from time to time. I didn't know what I was going to pursue after high school at all.
Hal is one early success in the program for 16 to 24-year-olds not enrolled in school and not employed. They're called Opportunity Youth. They number more than 26,000 in Greater New Orleans, 18% of their age group. Matthew Feigenbaum of the Cowen Institute says Earn and Learn was built for someone like Hal.
Someone who's kind of struggling academically, knows that they could have a bright future but isn't sure of the direction to take to get there and just needs a little bit more support.
It's an excellent place to learn and start someplace. And I think people need that. The community needs that.
Ray Poudreau was Hal's supervisor at Tulane. He taught him about carpentry and coming to work on time. Lessons that paved the way to that first job.
Skilled craftsmen are the lifeblood of our business. So it's really important to us to find people like Hal who have the background, the training, have been through a program like the Tulane Earn and Learn program that sets a foundation. Programs like that weed out those who aren't really career focused, provides us with an employee who is really dedicated, committed, so it's less turnover for us, someone who can hit the ground running and make a difference right away.
Tulane is adding more Earn and Learn apprentices.
They put in the time and effort for me to be who I am today.
And its first example that it's working says go for it.
But it's really everyone's responsibility, from the high schools to the local college to the employers, to come together and figure out what we can do to solve this crisis of opportunity youth in our city.
Tulane hopes it can share its ideas from New Orleans across the nation. There's a unique opportunity for high school students now, though administrators admit it might not be the choice for everyone. Students from across the state can apply even though the campus is physically located in Orleans Parish, in buildings that were once part of the former Naval Support Activity in Algiers. New Orleans Military and Maritime Academy students arrive at school early on a faultless spring morning. The Charter High School campus is near the Mississippi River levee on the West Bank in Algiers in Federal City.
Hoorah! Present arms.
On the orders of Senior Cadet Major Gabrielle Moore, NOMMA's cadets grade 9 through 12 fall into formation.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America.
It's 7:35 a.m. Their school day has begun.
NOMMA was a part of the re-envisioning of the educational landscape of New Orleans post-Katrina. The idea that you could have a portfolio of charter schools at the high school level that would appeal to the different children of the area, the young men and women here. And so the idea of having a military school was quickly brought into the forefront.
Post-Katrina education reform, a closed naval support facility, and the connection of the city's former Homeland Security Director, retired Marine Colonel Terry Ebert, led to the founding of the school.
The Marine Corps was looking to form a school and try a total school environment, and I was able to play in the middle of working with the state and obtaining a charter and working with the Marine Corps and obtaining the backing and the financial backing.
What has to happen to be correct?
NOMMA opened its doors to its first students in 2011. The school moved into its permanent location in Federal City in 2014.
We're a Type 2 charter school, which means that we report directly to Bessie, to the Board of Elementary and Secondary Education. We're allowed to pull students in from anywhere in the state of Louisiana.
How you doing, young man?
We are a unique school because all of our students are required to be in the Marine Corps JROTC program, wear the Marine Corps uniform, follow the Marine Corps dress grooming standards. Not everyone's going to like it here. Not everyone likes starting their day saying the cadet creed or saying yes sir, no sir, yes ma'am.
It's a very unique structure, a very unique educational climate to be all Marine Corps JROTC, and therefore you needed to cast a very wide net to ensure that we would have enough students to make this viable. I'm bringing young men and women in from Kenner to Barataria to Belle Chasse to Eastern New Orleans. Second piece of that was it was a unique opportunity to take advantage of the closure of the Naval Station. So you have what's essentially a new school being developed, existing in century-old buildings that were occupied by the Navy starting in 1907.
Both Commandant Davis and Dr. Garcia emphasized the mission of the school is teaching students.
Everything we do here is guided by educating and graduating young men and women, giving them a diploma that's backed by a solid education and good character development and leadership skills.
We do have folks who think that because it's a military academy that it is an alternative school or a boot camp or a place for students who've been put out of other school. That's not what our mission is.
Is it X over Y or is it Y over X?
We are intending to prepare students to be successful in college, not just getting into college, but preparing them to be successful when they get into college.
10 minutes, discuss it, be sure you have that in your notes.
As a senior, Cadet Major Moore led more than 500 cadets. She's in NOMMA's graduating class of 2015. It's first.
We learn bearing and enthusiasm and all the other leadership qualities that are taught in the Marine Corps. It's things that people need in life, all of the different traits that we need to be successful.
A lot of people will talk about saving lives. We are not saving lives in the acute sense like you would in combat. We are saving lives in the chronic sense in terms of setting them on the right path for success in life. We're going to ensure that they have the skill sets for them to be a good citizen and a productive citizen in our country.
After 4 years of growth, adding a class each year, NOMMA's first graduation day arrived. Smiles were everywhere. Proud family and friends cheered the success of their happy graduates.
Everyone in the first graduating class of NOMMA should be proud of themselves. We made it as a team.
Equally proud and happy, the dedicated founders of the school.
Foundation of it is to try and create an environment where every cadet is allowed to be the best they can be and succeed in life. And my goal is that when they walk across the platform and graduate, that every student, when they graduate, know where they're going tomorrow.
And as the many young people who work to complete school in this post-Katrina decade, the first graduates of the New Orleans Military and Maritime Academy headed toward their future, each now an American graduate prepared to pursue Louisiana opportunities. Productive. That's perhaps the key word in public education in these years since Katrina, creating an education system that offers opportunity to each and every student so that they can lead a successful and productive life.
The landscape is still evolving. Opinions vary on how to offer the best to our kids. There's no disputing that the common goal is to see them succeed, to graduate, and to make all opportunities their own.
American Graduate, Louisiana Opportunities.
a New Orleans public media education reporting partnership made possible by Baptist Community Ministries.